The AsIs podcast does not necessarily hold the views or opinions of our guests. The guests have a right to express their own thoughts, and those thoughts are protected with their freedom of speech. What they say is what they say, and we allow them the right to speak on their own behalf. The AsIs podcast is not responsible nor liable for the opinions and stories of others. Welcome to another edition of the AsIs podcast. Our guest today is Andre Taylor, former American pimp turned activist. Andre, you there?
I am.
How you doing today, brother?
I'm well. Yourself?
Pretty good, man. I can't complain. Let's get right into this, man. This is going to be very interesting for me. Break down the transit. First, you know what, before we go there, let's get into the pimp thing. What got you into that?
Well, my family is within a lifestyle. My mom was in the game with my father. So that's probably what got me into it, being around it, being exposed to it. At a young age, I really didn't want anything to do with the life. I really wanted a square life, probably because I was so exposed to things at a young age. But my aunt used to say, what you resist will persist. So ultimately, it persisted, and I got into the game.
Tell me what that experience is like.
Well, a lot of people are on the outside looking in. Maybe they get their information from a rap song, or maybe they get their information from a movie, but they don't understand the subculture. See, the Black community is a subculture, and the game is a subculture within that, where there's rules and there's regulations, there's guidelines. And once you enter in, just like the mafia, once you enter into this, you decide to be up underneath that structure, right?
Right.
So coming up as a child, I had a different perspective than probably people that got into the game at an younger age. I remember when I was fighting my federal case, and the judge asked me if there was something that I'd like to say. And I was said, yes, I was born from a womb of a prostitute by the seed of a pimp. I said, this is what society thought, but in actuality, it was my mother and my father, the people that loved me, the people that caressed me and fed me. So my experience was much different than, somebody from the outside, because they didn't have an intimate experience like I did coming as a child.
In today's society, a lot of brothers look at pimps as heroes. One of the reasons why is, I guess, is because of the flash and having the women. But then you have a portion of society who frowns upon that as well. Let's start with those that fantasize and idolize pimps. Why do you believe that is?
Well, I think personally, out of all the street hustles, that the pimp game is king. I think that everybody always wants to feel like they have information to be able to garner a woman's attention, and I think that is the one thing that makes people from our community look up to individuals like that, because, when you're in the game, it's not about how cute you are or what you look like, because there's a lot of men that might not be attractive that have beautiful women, because it's the knowledge of the information of the game. So, when people could look at that and say, well, wow, you would think that somebody have to be handsome to be in the game. This guy's not really handsome, but he has all these beautiful women. How is that? What is the secret? So everybody always thinks it's just some type of secret that guys in the game have to be able to have all these women that want to provide and do anything you want them to do for you. So I would think that would be the reason why people would look up to it.
Now let's go into the ones that would frown upon it. There are some I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I understand both sides, both ends of the spectrum. A lot of things that's promoted is having young girls forced into certain prostitution, but that's really taboo. That's not the game per se. It is all by choice. A girl, once a woman chooses to be with you, she does that by choice. She can leave at any time that she wants. There are exceptions to the rules in every life, as there is in the pimp game. That you might see some of these characters that movies show, what they call them gorilla pimps or whatever. There are those exceptions, But as a rule, it's kind of taboo to have young girls. Even though I had one in my case, we proved that she had lied about her age, and recently she got on TV and confessed that yes, I did lie to him, about my age. So there's a human trafficking going on right now that was really never associated with the pimp game 10, 15 years ago. Right, that was something that people from overseas would people that were in poverty would sell their daughters, sell their people into the sex trade. That's quite different than what the pimping, was doing.
So wait a minute,
because
I got to interrupt you. So is there a difference in between pimping and the sex trade as far as morals and integrity is concerned? In other words,
there's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference because, like I say, there's relationships. There's a subculture within the pimp game. A lot of these women that are involved in the game really have relationships with the guys in the game. They have children with some of these women. I have children with a few women that were in the game with me. I have children to this day. So the outside world looks at it as this monstrosity, and like I said, there are exceptions to every rule. But as a rule, it was about relationships. It was about me and this person getting together up under this subculture, and regardless of whether people thought it was cool or not, we together decided that we wanted to do this and come up in the world. And that's kind of pretty much how it is. People make decisions and they decide. Go ahead.
I kind of get it, but then again, I don't, because here's what I'm trying to go at. There is no difference in some of society's eyes between sex trafficking and a pimp. They're both bad. You can't take one and make it less of an offense than the other. A crime is a crime. A drug is a drug.
Let me challenge that then.
Okay.
Why is it that, if that's the case, why is it in certain parts of our country it's legal if it's so bad? Why in Vegas and in Pimp County that they have legal prostitution houses? And see, this is what I want to get into, because when people think about Hugh Hefner and they think about Dennis Huff, rest in peace, Hugh Hefner, rest in peace. When you think about these cats that are primarily doing the same thing that a lot of guys in the game was doing, what's the difference? The difference is they're white. And when society looks upon them, they look at them as a businessman. But a black man doing the same thing with these individuals that are worshiped and praised by white society, if a black man is doing the same thing, he's a pimp. So it's always been a double standard, right? And let me get into it even further than that. When you talk about the legalities of stuff, the biggest influence upon children in the internet is the porn industry. You know what the porn industry is? It's legal prostitution. It is someone deciding with somebody else that if we have sex, I'm going to pay you for it. That's prostitution. But why is the porn industry not attacked like some little guy out of the ghetto? Because the porn industry makes billions of dollars and they have powerful attorneys to protect what they do. So when it comes down to people trying to criminalize something, they always use the face of a black man, like the Willie Horton ad.
Right? I agree with that, but I have to interject. Because it's on TV, because it's legal in the state, because it's on the internet, still does not justify it being right. Because something is legal doesn't make it right.
From what perspective do you not think it's right when two consenting adults are coming together to decide what they want to do? What do you think what do you think about that should be criminalized?
I don't have an opinion as far as criminalization of any of it. I try to stay in the middle.
But you said it wasn't right.
I said
you said it wasn't right.
No, but what I said was initially I gave you two examples, and I'm trying to show you the pros and cons of each. It's not my personal opinion. It's the opinion of others, because you see some people protesting and marching against pimping, some people saying it's a sin, and I can see both sides. But what I'm doing is trying to get into your mind, someone who was actually in it, and see how you feel about it. You was.
Yeah, I haven't been in it over 20 years. So
okay.
Let's just make that clear. So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't want to. First and foremost, let me just explain to you. I'm pro-black. That's number one. Number two, I'm also an ex-felon. Okay, let's get it right.
Okay. Right.
Number three, I own a magazine that educates Black people, and it comes from a perspective of letting those people speak for themselves. So I am not against you, but at the end of the day, I still have common sense. I still have to be someone who can go sit down and sleep at night. And the way I do that is I try to understand everybody's perspective. You can't be one-sided. So the questions that I might ask you are questions that might seem as if I'm against you, and some might seem as if I'm for you. But my job is to get inside of your mind to get it out so other people can understand.
I get it. So let me explain this to you that in no capacity am I worried about whether you're with me or against me. I'm my own man. I've been that for many, many years. And I've taken a position based upon my personal experiences, not about what I think, not about what I guess, but my personal experience. So when you're asking me questions, I'm pulling from that personal experience. So I'm not offended by whether somebody's, I just fought the greatest battle that could be fought by fighting against law enforcement for police accountability, and lead the country in police accountability. My organization is the first organization that brought forth real legislation, right? So do you think that those police officers and those unions didn't come after me? Of course they did. But you know what I always teach when I go to universities and I teach my own people? You know what I tell them? I tell them to tell your own story before your enemy does. I've been telling my story over 20 years, right? So when law enforcement tried to highlight, oh, this guy was a pimp, this, that, and the other, people were like, man, we know Dre been talking about his story for 20 years. No big deal. So I'm not offended by what your position is, and I can deal with your lack of understanding about the game because you wasn't in it. So I'm not taking offense. I want to make sure you understand that.
and granted, I believe that's fair. But just as a touche, the game is the game, Black man. It don't matter if you're selling drugs, if you're pimping, you're sticking up, you're robbing. There are all aspects of the game. So I may not have been in the end where you solicit women and charge them or do whatever. But the game is the game.
Let me say something. Let me say this to you, since that's your perspective, right? Do you realize before there was any pimp that ever existed, there was prostitution?
Of course.
Was that the game?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so the oldest profession in the world, which is prostitution, that's been here for thousands of years, before there was any pimps. Pimps came way after. Right. Prostitution was established. You understand me? So what I'm trying to explain to you is that now the pimp is coming many, many years later, but then all the fault falls upon him when he didn't create it.
I can get that.
It's going to be here. It's going to be here. If there's not one more pimp in the country, prostitution will still remain. So do you think that should be victimized or criminalized? I'm talking about without no pimps. I'm talking about today. Most women through strip clubs and online don't have no pimps. They are participating in this game by themselves.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
But how are you looking at it then? Is that something you feel is wrong?
I'm not saying it is wrong. I'm not saying it is right. What I'm saying is this. Let me just go back to what you said. The oldest profession in the book is not prostitution. I'm going to show you where my mentality lies. The oldest profession in the book is hustling. You have to be a hustler first. It doesn't matter if you hustling shit, you hustling leaves, you hustling your body, whatever. So what comes second is the title of it, but the underlying of it is a hustler.
So all those women,
they're hustlers.
Biblically speaking, they were hustlers.
They were. Because you're in the Bible doesn't mean that you're holy.
Okay, so we're going to other places. So let me make you unpack this. What you're saying.
Okay.
You just said you said that they're all hustlers.
Yes.
So what is your perspective of a hustler as far as criminality is concerned? Because just because there's a law that says something is bad doesn't mean that it's just. Slavery was a law. They have Jim Crow laws. That doesn't mean that you are doing anything just because, it's against the law. That doesn't mean anything, really.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah. I agree.
So how is your perspective on hustlers, D?
A hustler is someone who a hustler is someone who does things for money. A hustler can now, today's terminology has been, we have a way, Black people have a way of changing the definition and making it something to benefit what they're talking about. So in this case, for me, A hustler is someone who does something for money. It doesn't matter what it is because you can hustle with a
That's
9
kind
to
of broad.
5.
That's kind of broad, yeah, because then you include everybody in the world then.
You
Because
do.
everybody is doing something for money. So are everybody hustlers?
In a sense, yes. And the way I look at
conversation about them. If everybody is hustlers,
here's what I'm saying.
You said.
Let me tell you why. Let me expound on that. The reason why I say that everyone is a hustler is because you're a hustler does not mean that you're on the same level as another hustler. So what I would do is say we had a tree, and on the top of that tree, I would have hustler. On the left side of the tree is hustler A. Hustler A may be a pimp. Hustler B may be a dope pusher. Hustler C may be a truck driver. Hustler D may be whatever. So what I'm saying is everybody is a hustler, but there's different levels to it. You understand where I'm coming from?
What you just indicated is positions, job positions. Right?
Yes, you can name it that.
So if you're indicating job positions, are you looking at one position, quote, of a hustler, as you say, like bad or good? Well, this guy's a truck driver, so he's a good hustler. This girl is a prostitute. She's a bad hustler. So, everybody is hustlers. I'm just trying to understand your mindset right now.
Unfortunately, I would have to agree with that, what you just said.
So from what point of reference gives you the decision or the power to decide what's evil and what's good?
My own moral compass and my own integrity. The way I was brought up in wait, let me finish. The way I was brought up with what I was taught to believe. What you believe and what you believe, I respect. I respect everybody's opinions and beliefs. However, I have my own. I am not going to be villainized or criticized because I feel the way I feel, nor will I allow you to be criticized or villainized because you feel the way you feel. We're people. We have different mindsets. That's my definition. That's that.
Okay, so earlier you said something else. Earlier you said other people, what other people think.
Yes.
So now that's a conflict of interest when we're talking about either it's you or we're talking about what other people thinks about said profession.
Well, the reason why, let me expound on that as well. The reason why I'm doing that and the reason why I'm saying it that way is because what I do for a living now is I'm no longer a hustler. Well, in a sense, I am because I hustle what I do with my magazines. You're
contradicting yourself.
Let me finish. Let me finish, brother. I'm no longer a hustler in the sense of what the streets may define it as. I'm a hustler in the sense that for me, hustling means you get up and you do what you got to do by any means necessary. Sometimes you have to move whichever way you have to move. And that's that. The reason why I said others and then I said mines is because I am a journalist. So you have to come from a variety of perspectives because there's some people that are going to undeniably agree with you and some people who won't. So you have to satisfy everybody's thought process if you can, even though 9 times out of 10 you won't, but you have to at least attempt to. That's all I'm doing.
Okay, so let me broaden it out for you. Maybe I can help you out a little better. Enron was a major corporation, but evil. But people on the outside looking in didn't see that. They're businessmen. The most evil institutions and conglomerates, banking, corporations have done more to harm and hurt people than any one pimp could ever do. But they're not looked at like that. You know why? Let me explain something to you. See, America itself is an empire that acts like any other empire that acted before it, to conquer lands and to conquer peoples. America has conquered lands and people to get into the position that it is today. So I'm going to turn a little corner. We're going to come back. The reason why it was so successful when many others weren't in getting police accountability in this country is because I understood this that I'm trying to explain to you. As an empire, you cannot address the power of an empire begging. You can't go, or crying. You can't go to them and say, why are you doing this to our people? Do you understand that they got to where they got to by doing this to our people and other people? They are an empire that conquers lands and people. So there is an idea within this country with powerful white men who feel justified in whatever behavior that they have, whatever crooked laws that they want to create. They feel justified because, why? Because they've conquered to get to where they are. To the victor goes the spoil. That's an idea, a major thought process, and a lot of powerful white men's thinking. So I didn't come at them with, you can't do this to us. I came at them by building power of my own. So they respected the power in which I presented, right? So that power also has the ability to criminalize this and to make this look better, even though that over there endangers and hurts and is more evil than this particular thing over here. Do you understand what I'm saying? So as we're having this small conversation, the broader picture, the broader evils that have been placed upon man or people have often come from the dominant society, not some little pimp, not some little guy who's trying to hustle. He doesn't have the ability to have the power to be able to influence a whole generation of people.
You know, I hear what you're saying, and I agree to an extent. Here's where I stop with the extent. I believe you have more power than you know, and I believe you have the power of what was, not what is. And let me explain why I say that to you. What you're going to be looked at and what's going to get people's attention is that you were a former pimp. You were a former pimp who played or was featured in the Hughes Brothers cult documentary film classic. They're not going to look at you as a person who's with civil rights or taking care of people. What gets you in the door and gets people's attention is what you was. And I think that there's good and there's evil to that, because although it took you to get to wherever you're at before you decided to change and make a better way, what people hold on to is what you were. It's no different.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. I'm gonna prove it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna prove it to you. What I was able to accomplish in this country wasn't done on an urban level. No urban platforms came to me. Breakfast Club or whatever our urban platforms, our biggest urban platforms, they didn't come to me when I passed police accountability. I'm the only person in this whole country that's got true legislation. You know who came to me? People who could appreciate what happened is high, powerful white society. Starting with the New Yorker, the most powerful magazine in the world. They came to me. Starting with Fox News, with Sean Hannity. And you know who else came to me? President Trump saw the work, appreciated it, called me, and I was able to put him and my other client was on the phone for 10 minutes because he was congratulatory to the work that I've done. And he was also offering his condolences to one of my clients. See, you might think the pimp game gets me in, but the pimp game cannot get you into political power. They're not worried about that. They're worried about what type of genius do you have to influence people. We created the largest people of color coalition in the history of Washington State, not because I was a pimp. No, because I had black genius and I knew how to bring people together. I knew the key to building power, which is not a word we use in our community.
Well, I agree with you, and I think that we're going to disagree. But here's what I'll say to all of that: you are a true pimp because you have a mouthpiece of a pimp. I don't think
anybody that has a mouthpiece is a pimp.
They have the characteristics and traits of it. That can be true.
You listen how what you're sounding. Anybody that speaks well. People always say, the king.
I don't think that you. I don't think that you speak wrong, and I don't think that you speak less than, and I don't think that it is a wrong way to actually speak. I understand the dynamics of speaking, the ebonics, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to say that you speak well. I'm not going to say that. I say you speak like a black man. I've heard plenty of people speaking like you. I've been in this game for 20 years. I put some of the brightest and the biggest dope dealers in the country on the cover of my magazine. Some from your area. Rick Ross. I was the first one to put him out. They sound like you. There's no difference.
If they sound like me, they would have been able to accomplish what I've done.
I'm not.
I don't have to prove,
brother.
Who I am. My work.
No, it does. I want you to understand where I'm coming from a different perspective. I am not attacking you. I am not against you. What I'm saying to you is based on what I do. And let me just break it down and go further. I'm going to take away the formalities of this, and I'm going to just be what it is. I'm black. I come from the streets. Game recognized game. Bottom line. You can try to label it and put it any way you want to, but if we were standing on the corner, sitting in the barbershop or sitting in the cell together, these are the conversations we would have. It wouldn't be about if you speak well. You speak like any other black man who had enough hustle, gumption, drive to go up and do something, be it selling drugs, robbing bank, or killing. It's the same language. It may be different for white America.
I definitely disagree.
And that's fine.
We just gonna have to disagree on that right there.
And that's, wait, brother, that's fine. And that is the beauty of conversation, because sometimes we try to get into each other's heads. But what I will say is I definitely respect you, and I respect your accomplishments. You've done some things that others haven't. But I, from the outside looking in, would attribute that to you being a pimp, because you know how to manipulate words. You know how to manipulate minds. That's what pimps do. You may no longer be a pimp making people sell their bodies on the corner, but you don't lose those skills.
See, I am so aware of people from the outside having their perspective of what they think this game is about. They've always thought it was about manipulation, deceit. I remember when I was growing up, my father would tell me, son, he said, let me tell you something. The well-placed truth is better than a lie. I don't lie, and I don't operate in deceit. Even when I was in the game, my reputation precedes itself, right? Because there's a level of manhood that I have been taught to be, regardless. Even when I was facing life in prison, never did I budge one bit. Never did I crack one bit. Even in American Pimp, I said, if they think that them bringing me to jail is going to strip me from being a man that I am, that they badly mistaken, right? Underneath the fire. I'm talking about underneath real life circumstances where your life is on the line. How do you fare then, right? So for you to say that, well, I'm just going to give you that, because that lets me know that you really, really don't understand. You understand what you understand, and it's a lot, and I applaud you for having your magazine, because I know what it takes as a black man in this country to be able to do the things that you're doing. I salute you on that. But there's certain things you just don't know,
and that's very possible. I don't know everything.
Years.
And listen, brother.
Let me finish. One thing, when you associate manipulation to the game, that lets me know it's an outside view and an outside opinion.
And what does outside mean? Define outside. What is that saying?
Outside of the game. Outside of the game. Outside of the understudy of the game. Right? So we used to say this, right? When I was coming up, I didn't walk, talk slick. As a matter of fact, my dad taught me to be as square as possible. So always my disposition in the game was extremely square. Even when I went to prison, people was like, that's Gorgeous Dre. They could act square. No, because I was taught to do so I would never prepare people for my strengths. The reason why I was able to have the success in the game was not because I walked down the street limping with, like I was slick and cool, or because I had this colorful outfit on. No, that wasn't the reason. The reason why is because I was convincing. I worked for Nordstrom's. I worked for Neiman Marcus. I learned how wealthy people act, think. I wanted to know what they read. I learned the disposition, the mannerisms of people with wealth. So ultimately, when I got around the game, right, I was undetected. I wasn't like somebody that comes up and he has all this street vernacular. So they see you coming a mile away and they close the door even before you even reach the door.
I'm in so much agreement with that. Like, I agree with that so much. You have no clue. That mentality, the way to move is what you just described, is what I would call it. I'm in total agreement with. But I also know this, and perhaps maybe I'm not in the game, or I'm not in the part of the game that you're in. Nevertheless, I'm in the league. So me being in the league is the difference between baseball and basketball. I'm a basketball player, or I'll be a baseball player, whichever you want me to be. You're the opposite, but we're still in the league. We're still in the game. We play two separate parts of the game. Nevertheless, it's the game. So what I hear and what I see from you is a brilliant black man who defied society and decided to stand up and do something, and his willpower was just going to be defiant. The way you see things, you were going to go forth and execute. I don't see a problem with that. But I'm not going to say it's something that's extraordinary, because every person, and I've been doing this before I owned my own magazine. I worked for Dawn Diva magazine. I was the editor there for 3 years. So I have 20 years experience. Every black man that I've put on the cover or has been on the cover of a Dawn Diva magazine when I was at Dawn Diva had your characteristics and traits.
Was you there with Bop?
Who was Bop?
Cavario.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, I was the editor of that magazine.
Sure.
So, of course, I was there. I was there when Cavario was no longer there, when Kevin Childs came home. It was Kevin Childs, Tiffany Childs, Cavario, me, Susan Hempstead. I mean, if you have a Don Diva or if you've been in prison, all you got to do is look for the name Shabazz. You're definitely going to see it. Some of the strongest covers were my cover. So when I say that, I have these conversations with people. Now, I'm not knocking any of the people. I think that Black people are brilliant people. We are definitely people who knows how to get around. Some of us are stronger than others, but I see the characteristics in you of another strong brother, and he may not be a pimp. He might be a drug dealer. He might be a check writer. He might be an embezzler. There's a million.
He might be a doctor. He might be a lawyer.
He can be. And you know what? Here's what I'm... No. Listen to me. You're 100% correct. I do not disagree with that at all. But at the end of the day, I'm not covering doctors. I'm covering ex-pimps, ex-drug dealers, brothers that's in jail for the rest of their life, from Fat Cat to Pappy Mason to Big Meech. I ain't talking to a doctor. I'm talking to a Black man who used to be a pimp.
Yeah, but you can't, I'm trying to tell you, whenever you speak about the game, you associate it only with criminality. That's my point.
And you might be right with that. And the reason why is because that's the element in the area of my expertise. I don't know the other part. I don't know the other part.
Who I am.
Right.
I have a son that graduated Yale. I have a
I read that.
Graduated UCLA.
I read that.
So this is my issue, right? Because if you keep associating any parts of the game with only criminal minds, you know what I'm saying? And not bring in the criminal, if this is what you consider criminal, and not bringing in the great criminal minds that ran Enron. They're not great. The first savings and loans failure. What's his name? I forgot. Keaton. I was in prison with him at Tucson. All these are great masterminds, but because they're white collar, right? It's easy for them to throw a rock and hide their hand.
I agree.
I'm trying to point out to you, bro, that it's just not about our people, right, that are doing what you might consider criminal activities. There are a lot of people out there that are doing way worse criminal activities.
I agree. I've never said they weren't. I'm in total agreement with that. I think maybe we went left because you may take it as me having a personal attack against you, and that's not it at all.
I don't.
What it is, okay, but here.
I just don't want you. I don't want you, man, just to continually put us in a certain box as if this is what you guys do. No. This is, let me tell you, man.
Let me ask you a question. Wait, before you go, let me just break your chain of thought. Let me ask you a question since you say I put everybody in a box. We both Black. I come from the hood. I don't know where you come from. If you come from better, great. If you don't, then you'll understand. We're standing on the corner. It's 11 o'clock at night. 4 people, you don't know what they are, walking up on you, and they all have hoodies. What is your first instinct? What is as coming from that type of environment, what do you think is getting ready to happen? Do you
Okay, well, wait a minute. No, don't name them for me. You asked me a question.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
So let me just get this clear. I'm on the corner. 3-4 cats come up in hoodies. You know what I'm saying? Well, first of all, I'm from the streets. So if it's on one of my corners and 3 guys come up in hoodies, they probably my partners. I'm gonna reach out and embrace them. What's up, nigga? What y'all niggas doing out here, man? That's what I'm gonna do, because ain't nobody just gonna come up in my community like that I don't know, right? So I'm gonna reach out and be like, what's up, nigga? You know what I'm saying? What you guys doing, boy? You know, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, now let me tell you what I'm gonna do. Whether it's my block, whether I think it's my block or whatever, because I know how people move and I know it's very competitive and I know how the streets work, the first thing I'm doing is reaching for a gun. I'm not waiting out no hands.
Are you talking about drug situations?
No, I'm just talking about
pimps.
No, no, I didn't give you a drug or pimp situation. I just said as a Black man being in the hood, standing on the corner at 11 o'clock at night, 4 men are walking towards you and they all have on hoodies. How do you react?
Yeah.
And you're saying that they wouldn't have the balls to walk up on your block, so they would have to be your people.
No. That's your words. I never said that.
Okay.
I said if it is in my community that everybody knows each other, You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna know those guys walking up. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Okay, I get it. I get that. But even if I think that I might know those guys, and it could be on the block that I live on, the block that my mama live on, the stuff that we like to say, I'm still going to get my gun. I'm going up under the hood.
You got a drug boy mentality. I got a pimp's mentality. So we did that. Listen, what you talk about, we did all the time. We on the corner on whether it's on, because I'm talking about pimp tracks though.
Okay.
I'm talking about dope boy tracks. I'm talking about pimp tracks.
Okay.
That's the thing that we do. We go around, chop it up, man, chop the game up. You know, that's what we do as a pastime.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying you don't understand. But when you talk about dope boy shit, that's a whole different perspective. Well, I wasn't around dope boy shit. I was around pimps.
And get it, brother. I understand. But to be totally honest, I didn't say dope boy or pimp. I said a black man in the hood at 11 o'clock on the corner. I don't care what your profession is. Black man.
Let me tell you, down in the Tenderloin, this is in the Bay Area.
Okay.
There's a whole track.
Okay.
Farrell and Jones and Taylor and woo. Pimps hang around there. Pimps and hoes over there. Pimps be pimping around there. And niggas always come out on the block to chop it up, chop this pimping up, man. Ain't no niggas got no pistols and shit. Now, we do know what dope boys be too.
Right.
We don't go fuck with dope boy because we know there's a different type of lifestyle.
Okay.
And it ain't about the camaraderie of this pimping, man. It's something different. Okay. We know who they are. They know who we are.
Okay.
And we don't frequent. And 9 times out of 10, some of them dope boys are some of our partners because we from the same hood. He peddling dope and I got hoes.
Okay.
But it's a whole different perspective, a whole different mindset,
and a whole different game. And I get that. I get that.
And that's not going to even be in no place like that.
Well, the reason why
I'm not going to even be in no place like that.
The reason why
pimping.
The reason why I asked that is because sometimes I travel a lot. Well, I know brothers that travel a lot, and the world is bigger than your block. So it doesn't matter if I end up on a pimp block, a dope block, a crackhead block, whatever block it is. As a black man at 11 o'clock, regardless to what block I'm on, you got 4 guys walking up with hoodies. I'm going for my gun. I don't care what part of the game it is. And the reason why is because
that's you.
And you're right.
That's your point of reference. It ain't mine.
And you know what? That is fine. But I can tell you, I'm interviewing you right now from Chicago.
I got you.
If you're in Chicago, I don't care if you with Bishop Don Juan. You could be on whatever block is they pimping on. If 4 brothers walk up on you with hoodies, prepare to get jacked, killed, and robbed.
Okay, so let me explain something to you. Because I am in the game, and because I know that mindset, that type of situations, we always say stay out of slippery places and you won't slip. You won't find me there. I'm not going to be there.
I get it.
I'm going to let all that shit right there, them niggas can have it, man. I'm going to be up in a casino somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I do, bro. I don't be in those environments.
I get it. And you know what? I definitely respect that because my youngest son, he's always I like eating fish, okay? And I like getting it from hood spots because I think they just got the best fish, fried fish. Like where I live and where I work at are 2 different places. But my son started to remind me, like, Daddy, you promised me we ain't going up in there. And the reason why is just because of who his father is. And even without his father being who his father is, just as a regular black man, going up in the fish spot in the hood ain't safe. It don't matter who you are.
I don't. Listen, bro, I don't.
So I agree.
See, when me and my partners, we'd be in another city and stuff, some of them would say, man, let's go to the ghetto. I said, nigga, I'm not going. I know what's in the ghetto, nigga.
Exactly.
What do you want to go to the ghetto for? Nigga, I know it. So me and what I did, I stayed out the way, man. I'm not going to be in no environments. And the environments that I am, them kind of niggas can't get in the first place.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, listen now, we had a bump in the road earlier with how we see things, but your perspective and mentality, especially with what you just said, is the same one as me. 2 different games, but it's the same thing. We all have some of the same characteristics and traits, is what I said earlier in the conversation. Because that rule in law.
I'm not debating that.
Okay.
I'm not debating that we don't have some of the same characteristics.
And I'm not.
For you to blanket and say there's a bunch of niggas. Woo, woo, woo. I don't agree with that.
Well, I actually never said the word.
I know some of the biggest dope boys ever. Matter of fact, the biggest black dope boy was Waterhead Bo. He just got out maybe 4 or 5 years ago. That's where Freeway Rick used to get his drugs from. The boy over there in DC, Raper. Waterhead Bo is the biggest dope boy as a black man that there's been. A lot of people don't even know about Bo.
Okay.
Bocar's case, he was out of the country. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? So I talk and know all guys because they respect me. I respect them because of the height of the game that I got to. Most people was thinking that, man, how a nigga get to that level pimping? Nigga got to be selling drugs. No, I did it pimping. Right? But I know a lot of them guys. I know a lot of them. I know Ant Flowers up out of the Bay Area. I mean, you know, we did time together. So I know a lot of niggas around the country that be in different games.
Right.
And they respect me for what I do. I respect them for what they do.
But I still respect you.
Being where they are,
I
don't fuck around with that.
And I get it. And that's a rule of the game. That might be rule number 3. Like, you don't get caught slipping, regardless of what kind of neighborhood, be it pimping, drugs, or whatever, because you already know what comes with the game. And what that actually means, and what I was trying to say, is that we can identify and see immediately what's about to happen. And unless you actually come from that or have that in your stock, you won't know. A great example is, I don't even want to use that example, but unless you come from...
Bro, V, what you're understanding is this, bro. We know what's going to happen. Yeah. So an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. Old saying.
Right.
So because I already know how things operate on the streets, I'm not going to fucking be there.
I get it. So then it
ain't going to happen.
I get it.
If I have a problem, I'm going to call one of my niggas that's into that shit. You know, that's maybe jacking or I'm going to call one of my niggas and let them know, because that's how I operate, because a lot of niggas love me and I love them. So I had some, you know, some real rider motherfucker killers, man, that love me.
I get
you know
it.
What I'm saying? To this day. So if I had some kind of issues with them broads, if a motherfucker trying to, you know, if he can say anything he want to say to one of them broads, but you can't touch it. So if you touch it, it becomes a different story, right? So I'm not about to go fight no gang niggas.
I get it.
You know?
I get it.
I call niggas that do that.
I get it. And as a person that was formerly involved in the streets, I would be able to look at you and tell that, because that rule normally applies to those people that come from that lifestyle. So for me, it would still be a part of the game, but I'm just not in that league. And I agree. That's what you kind of said earlier. So what I'm trying to say and where the conversation is going is not to put a broadened perspective or a blanket perspective on everybody and say this or say that. I'm not doing that at all. I'm only doing it for what I'm covering. If I was covering doctors and lawyers, then it would be a different perspective. I'm talking to a brother now who's changed his life, but you used to be a pimp. So I'm coming to you from a perspective of a nigga that was on the streets at one time myself. I wouldn't sit in a cell and we wouldn't talk about Enron. I wouldn't sit in a cell and we wouldn't talk about Dr. Feelgood or Dr. Phil. I would be sitting in the cell and we would be talking about Lisa, Teresa, and Janet, and how you made them do what you did on the track.
I don't know, bro. I don't know about that, bro, because I'm not. Listen, I remember. Let me give you this story real quick. I remember there was a dude named Mac. We was in. What was this? Was this North Las Vegas? No, this was Las Vegas, this detention center. And Mac, Mac was one of them cool niggas, man. He's slick and he got all the movements and mannerisms. I mean, just real slick. I pulled Mac to the side and say, Mac, man, let me holler at you. He said, what's up, Dre? I said, man, all that slick and cool shit that you doing? I said, man, that shit is killing you off from having your real money. I said, because they see you coming, Mac. Bitches see you coming. Niggas see you coming. The police see you coming. And I said, until you can camouflage that shit, all the strengths that you have, until all that shit is camouflaged, nigga, you ain't gonna really have no real big money, nigga. See, them's kind of conversations, because I'm not promoting foolishness. Even when I was in the game, I'm going to try to lace a nigga, man, let a nigga know there's different ways you can move, and how you move them right now is probably not the most beneficial. And sometimes I won't open my mouth at all. I'll just shut the fuck up.
And you know what? I agree with that again. I agree with that mentality as well. But here's where I'm going to say, you're a pimp. That's some shit a pimp would do. So it's to be expected. Are you there?
I don't even know what you mean by that. Yeah, I don't even know. That's some shit a pimp to do, is to be expected.
Yeah, the mentality and how you break it down to a person. Because first and foremost, you got to be nice with the mouthpiece. You got a nice mouthpiece. You've been trained and conditioned to do and say exactly what you do and say over a period of time. So when you're doing it,
everybody has.
Of course.
I think everybody.
But here's what I'm saying. I agree. I agree. And I agree with how you do what you do. But when you're in the game or you've been around that, you can identify. So,
Bro, let me tell you something. A lot of people that interview me, I just started doing interviews again because I just started doing my music.
Right.
But mostly I turn down interviews.
Right.
Because I already know people don't have the point of reference to be able to have a conversation. I already know that.
Okay.
Right? Because,
so educate me then. Educate me.
Because they're looking at what I do from the outside or from movies and what they project or what they think. But they really have, listen, man, they really haven't had anybody really give them the fundamentals of the game.
So give it to me.
They really haven't.
So break it down. Break it down.
I can't break it down. I can't break it down in this conversation. It'd be impossible. But let me give you some little pointers of this game here.
Okay, I'm gonna get it straight from a pimp. I'm pimping right now, so give it to me, man.
Well, you're gonna get it straight from a man because an American pimp. I said my father told me before you a pimp, you got to be a man first.
So then be a man and man up and break it down.
Before you a doctor, lawyer, doesn't mean that I'm being a man.
So be a man and break it down.
But that's elementary game to me. So anyway, if I choose to give you some information, I will. So it's about manhood more than anything to me. It's about manhood more than anything. When I was growing up and I would do something, the worst words that I would hear my father say to me is, Andre, that ain't no man shit. That was like death to me because my daddy made manhood so big to me, which is why I never moved in deceit and trickery and deception because it was unmanly to do so, which is why I never lied to a broad before, which is why when I get abroad, I might not come out and say I'm a pimp, but I will say that I'm not doing anything that might be agreeable with the law to give the bride an opportunity to decide whether she want to go forth or not, because I don't want the bride 3 months down the line saying, why you lie? I never want to invest any line because I'm too much of a man to do so. So it's manhood before pimping and any of that shit. It's manhood. And when I was tested, every time that I was tested, I proved forth that the man was more important to me than anything. When they was trying to give me a life sentence, again, I'm not doing anything that I think is extraordinary, but it's a teachable moment, right? Because I've seen a lot of niggas in the joint, hardcore killers, telling their whole communities. I've seen that. Niggas that push a hard line, I've seen them get up underneath the pressure. And I've seen when they understand the power of the federal judge, how niggas become a shrinking vitamin. I've seen it with my own eyes, not me, right? Every situation that I've been tested in, I've always proven that being a man is more important to me than anything else. Fundamentals, character, integrity, honor, these things are the most important things that I was taught growing up more than anything. The pimp shit is secondary. See, the game is not pimping. Pimping is a part of the game. The game is so much bigger than just pimping. I'm not pimping no more, but I still utilize the information of the game to this day.
But brother, I just said that. You may not have liked the way I said it, but I said that 15 minutes ago. I said it in a different way. Maybe it's a language barrier because I'm from New York and you're from the West Coast. Sometimes we don't understand each other. But everything you say, I second. I agree with it. You said nothing wrong, and I said the same thing beforehand. So, I mean, it is what it is. I respect all aspects of the game. And when you're in the game, to me, the game means pimping, prostitution, selling drugs, sticking up, credit cards, embezzlers, murder. It's all the same. None is different than the other as far morally.
Crazy as hell. See, that's
morally for me.
Your definition of the game is not my definition,
and that's fine. And that's what makes.
This is why we differ. This is what we differ.
We're supposed to. Wait, listen. I'm not here to flip you to turn Muslim because I'm Muslim, and you're not here to flip me to turn Christian. So what you're talking, I understand and respect. But
I'm not a Christian.
But exactly.
I'm an Israelite.
Exactly. You know, wow. That's crazy. My cousin was an Israelite. My cousin was an Israelite and he passed. And they were extreme. My cousin Sean, he was extreme. But he nevertheless was still my cousin. And we had these type of debates. I have these kind of debates when I'm in Harlem right now, 125th Street. Sure. So I get it. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. We may have the same message and we deliver it differently, but I still am going to say game recognized game. So your mannerisms, the way you talk, the way you deliver your message, it could be from a strong black man. But being a former member of the game, which when I was illegal at one time myself, I see it for what it is. And for me being in the game, you're a pimp. You
Okay,
still
so
got that pimp shit with you.
Let's clarify the game from the perspective on how I was taught, right? The game to us has nothing to do, because my dad used to say, pimping is not what you do, it's who you are, right? So somebody might think because a person have a couple little holes, gang members be having holes. That don't make them no pimp.
True.
Right. I said it's a subculture. There are certain fundamentals, from gentlemen of leisure. What used to happen in my dad's time is that if a dude got up into the game and he wasn't really the game, they put the spotlight on him. Oh man, that man ain't no pimp. He's such and such. He's a such and such.
Right.
Right. It's just that in these days today, it's been watered down where everybody feel they can enter into the subculture. But me as a premier cat, a godfather in my game, at the time that I was doing it, the biggest cat in the country, I know there's different distinctions in how people view the game. So you think the game is just, criminal entities.
I don't think it's just criminal. No, not at all. I did not say that.
Okay, but I know what you said. But the game, bro, all my dad used to say, all the game is knowledge with a flair. See, the game to us is a hidden knowledge. Not the gang bang. That's not the game to us. The game to me is the hidden knowledge. The knowledge that is so powerful that it rivals white supremacy. The knowledge that is so powerful that me coming from the streets, being a pimp, could come up into a political environment, conquer law enforcement, the largest law enforcement union in the country, the FOP, and all the other ones around, to be able to utilize the information that I was taught, the knowledge, and be able to utilize that knowledge, right, to conquer what has been conquering us. That is the game.
And it
all
is.
That other stuff is not the game to me, bro. It is laughable almost. That is not the game.
And you know what?
I do not give a nigga that just because he go stick somebody up that he got the game. Nigga, you ain't got the game, nigga.
But that's the low part of the game. Understand, I said there were levels to it. What I call the game is, to me, that's the game. And as far as your accomplishments, you would be the first person that I would recruit to do exactly what you did, because you have the power to manipulate your words, to play with somebody's mental, and to talk that shit that you talking right now. Sometimes you can catch a person off guard. You don't have to be a pimp to be pimping. You still pimping. You just not selling pussy.
See, again, that's where we differ, because
and that's my opinion.
Pimping is not what you do; it's who you are.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So when you said, "Well, it's what I live," so let me say, everything that I'm telling you, I got the receipts for.
But no, I agree with. Wait, I believe you.
Wait. I don't know who else you was talking to, but I got the receipts about the game, about everything that I've done in politics. I got the receipts. It is a history of the way that I've been moving since I entered into the lifestyle. I
believe you.
There's a history of those receipts,
brother.
Right?
I believe you, and the reason why
you don't have to believe me. They're
okay.
There.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying.
You don't have to believe me. Okay. They're there.
Black man, I still believe you. Relax. You don't got to go left on
bro.
me. I'm not against you.
Thinking I'm going left.
I'm saying I agree with you and I believe you. And the reason why I believe you and I agree with it is because I know what it takes, or at least I think I know what it takes to be a pimp. I know what it takes to be able to control somebody's mind, to make them send some black woman, white woman, whatever kind of woman outside and open up their legs.
That process is elementary, bro.
Okay.
Let me tell you, man. I'm going to give you just a little bit because you just don't get it, man. And it's like trying to explain astrophysics to a bum or something. You just don't get it, right?
I'm bum number one, though.
Let me explain something to you, bro. When I had girls with me, when I talked to them about current events and about how to present yourself with class, I'll give you a perfect illustration. I remember when I first started working in Vegas, and I told one of the females that were with me, I said, now there are professional tricks in Vegas. I said, but let me explain how you have to deal with a professional trick. If he come up to you and say, how much would it be for the night? You tell him only $1,000. I said, now a professional trick is going to say, well, would you take 800? what you do is you touch them and you say, I'm sure there's a lot of women out here that would, take your $800. But when you're willing to give me what I've asked for, I'll be around. And you you touch him, you walk away. And what's going to happen if he is who he is? He's going to say, wait. I said, because now what you've done, you got him in the mindset of first this. You don't play around with money. That's not nothing that you play around with. You're too big for that. Right? You got him in the mindset that he's not going to play about money with you ever again. Because what you've shown him with some class and some sophistication, right, is that you are a professional. So then he's going to view you not as a hoe, but as a peer, because he moves like that. He operates like that. This is the kind of stuff that I was teaching, right? The people that were with me. So now I said, the most money we will ever get is not for a trick going to sleep with you. That's not the most money we'll ever get. The most money we'll ever get is me being able to teach you how to sell the illusion. She's like, what's that? I said, you see models? You see all the money that they make and the millions of dollars that models are making? There's no sex going on, is it? No. I said, what are they doing? What are they selling? They're selling the illusion. So once you learn how to sell the illusion, a man that got big money is going to look beyond just some sex. He can get that from anywhere. Because now he's going to want some kind of companionship. Now he's got some respect. And one of the most important things that people that got power pay for, she says, what? I said, they pay to feel normal. It's because they get sex thrown at them. I remember I was lecturing one time at a university, and the kids would ask me, why would a movie star give a girl $30,000? I said, because he's paying for normalcy. Because he gets sex, he get all that shit thrown at him. He wants somebody to make him feel like, I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care what title you have. I don't care what song you sing. If you want to see me, then you're going to have to get your money right. This is attractive to him. This turns him on. We're going to get a lot of money out of him. So this is the kind of things that I was teaching. Not that little amateur elementary shit you talking about. That's some laughable shit, man. But you don't understand the level on which I operated on. You just don't get it because you can't transmit what you don't have.
You know what?
That's just a little bit, bro.
And you know what? I respect that little bit that you've given me, and I also take that as a compliment. I'm a dope boy, an ex-dope boy. I don't believe in putting a female out and making her sell a body. That's just not what I do. And at the end of the day, I don't pay for pussy. Honestly, that part of the game I've always stayed away from. I've interviewed Bishop. I've interviewed Pimp and Ken. I've interviewed quite a few. I've even ran with Maroy. I don't know if you know Maroy. He used to be in Vegas and he used
Maroy used to have a troll. He was no pimp.
No, he wasn't a pimp, but he stayed around pimps. He did about 10 documentaries on pimps, so cross-country pimping. Yeah. So, I mean, I've ran with those kind of people, but that was when I was away from the streets. That's when I was in the magazines. So I kind of understand, but it's just something that I've never personally done because for me, that's just not how I want to make my money. Can I respect a dude that could do that? I look at it a different way. And the reason why I look at it a different way is because I understand that man has mind control, and that's a gift. It's a gift to be able to manipulate your words or manipulate somebody's mental and get them to do what you want to do without having a gun. You got to respect that. Do I like
what you doing? What you doing by making that statement is you taking out the choice. You acting like I got to be manipulated. I don't manipulate. No.
You don't, and you don't have to, but you can use you can have a choice. You can have a word choice.
Let me give you something, bro. Since we're here and since you're open to be educated.
Of course I am.
Okay.
Because this ain't personal for me.
Everything is about building value. Let me tell you where I learned the value game. When I worked at Neiman Marcus when I was a youngster in Beverly Hills, I would go around Rodeo Drive. And one time I went past this store called the Bijan store. And in the window, they had something in the window that said, by appointment only. I thought about that. I said, man, that is so fucking phenomenal. I said, this is so much power here. I said, because just how the maneuver on that is why wealthy people go into the store, because they want to go somewhere where the average person can't go. If I had $100,000 in my pocket right now, I couldn't go to the Bijan store because it's by appointment only. I said, and that's exactly what wealthy people are paying for, exclusivity. Everything is about building value. I used to work when I was a youngster for this company called Silver King. I ended up being one of the owners of it. I was 18. And it's like a shop vac that could clean up your house and it can clean up a shop, right? But these things cost $2,300. So if I would just go to somebody's house and they ask, well, how much is this? They say, oh, $2,300. But you don't get your motherfucking ass away from my door. But no, that's not how you do it. You got to build value. So what I would do a presentation. I got a little box that's like a little, a suitcase box that I would bring in. I bring the Super King in. I say, let me do some demonstrations for you. I say, can you get a glass of water? I first tell them, you guys know about the Kirby, right? The Kirby is like the Rolls Royce of vacuum cleaners.
Oh my God.
It can do anything. So they say, yeah, I know about the Kirby. And so I want to show them what the Kirby can't do. So I go suck this water up out of the thing. Then I got this metal ball to show the power of the Silver King. And I suck the metal ball up, then I vacuum their couch up to show them how much dust mites and shit is on there, right? And by the end of the presentation, I say, the Kirby costs $5,000. So I say, how much you think this is? Oh, $7,500. Oh, $6,500. And I say, no, it's only $2,300. Oh, give me one. See, everything breaks down to value, brother. You got to learn and know how to build value. I'm a master of knowing how to build value, whether that's a woman, whether that's police accountability, everything or anything that I've ever done, I know how to build value.
That's a great
story. When I was a youngster.
That's a great story. Now, let me tell you a story when I was a youngster. I had just gotten out of the military. I had a best friend. I'm going to tell you his name. His name was Roy Goldburn. So if he's listening, he might be able to call in and vouch for it. But Roy Goldburn was a salesman for Kirby Vacuum Cleaner. I was fresh out the military. I had saved up maybe $10,000, $15,000. I had a girlfriend at the time. He had a girlfriend at the time. So I'm like, yo, Roy, what are you doing, man? Like, he's trying to sell a vacuum cleaner. He tell me the vacuum cleaner can grind meat. It can suck dirt off the blinds, and it could blow paint. It could do everything that you said it could do. But the problem was we were in a black neighborhood and we were close to the projects. I lived in a tenement building. He lived in a tenement building as well. But right across the street from him was the projects. So his clients and his customers would be people that come from the projects. So, black people, we were poor. We didn't have no money. So long story short, he would go make his presentation, knocking on people's doors, and everybody would immediately turn him down if they even opened the door. Now, the ones that did open the door, the way he got them interested is he would tell them, I will vacuum one of your houses, one of your rooms for free and show you what it could do. Now, coming from the hood, ain't nobody black gonna turn down a free vacuum cleaning because half of their carpets was filthy as hell anyway, including mine. That was a no-brainer. It never worked. So what I did was I said, Roy, first of all, I think back then the Kirby was about $1,300 to $1,500. What we need to do is provide a service. And the service is what we do. Actually launched my first company, and it was named Royale Carpet Cleaning. Royale Carpet Cleaning service funeral parlors, movie theaters, dentist's office, anything with carpet, but professional, not individual houses, because the black people, they just wasn't paying. We decided to take it downtown. My first major contract was with a funeral home that's still around today. It's on 145th and St. Nicholas, and it's called Benter's Funeral Home. Benter's Funeral Home was the biggest black funeral home in Harlem. We got that contract. The only thing that I didn't like about that contract was when you got inside, we would have all our Kirby's, we would have our manpower. They would lock you in the funeral home. So here we would be cleaning up, using the vacuum, Scotch Garden, removing gum, whatever else we had to do. There's a dead body right there. I did that for about 6 or 7 months. My girlfriend couldn't take it because she didn't want to be with the bodies. The reason why I'm telling you that story is because the similarities between the two of us is you also are familiar with Kirby vacuum cleaners. You're also familiar with providing a service and making a person think that they need whatever it is you're selling as that service. So there are aspects of your mentality that intertwine with mine. So I could never, regardless of how it sounds or what people may think, diss you or say that you're less than, because to me, again, it's all a game. It's all in the game. It's different levels to it. It's different aspects of it, But it all falls under the umbrella of the game. Even a low down, dirty stick up kid, somebody that's sticking people up, robbing old ladies. That's the part of the game I'm not into. And the reason why I'm going to always label it the game and put all of those included is because when you're in a jail cell, ain't no difference in the suits. All you niggas look the same. All of us get called by our last names or a number. We all go to the mess hall, and if you got some money or you got somebody outside taking care of you, they sending you 35 pounds of food. It's the game. There ain't no difference. You can't label one as better than or think that you're better than or less than somebody else because you've made money or you've done this. That's ridiculous to me. And you would be, or in my opinion, someone from the gang would be the person that I would send in to do exactly what you've done because we know how to manipulate people. You was a pimp. I was a dope boy.
You keep associating manipulation with some pimping. As if, a motherfucker got to be lured in order to get what he wants. I'm trying to tell you the pimping.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm using.
It's. I told you this is about man shit.
Okay.
Shit.
Okay.
So I don't manipulate anybody. I bring them the truth. I just told you my dad at a young age taught me the well-placed truth is better than a lie. In other words, son, don't lie. Don't be manipulative. Don't be See, you don't understand that part. When people think about the game, they always think about a dude who is deceitful, underhanded, he's the low life and all that. That's none of me, bro.
that's not what all people think. All people
It is what all people think.
It is not. I got a whole
they
mob.
Always think that a pimp is somebody who's the lowest form of life, and that's cool. I'm not one.
That's not true.
The cheat up off of me, bro.
That's not true.
The cheat. We would say, gentlemen of leisure would say, as long as they keep thinking that's what a pimp is, which you keep saying and all that shit, it keeps the cheat off a motherfucker like me. You would never see me because I wouldn't have this conversation with you in the first place. I'm not going to prepare you for my strengths.
But wait a minute.
You would never see me.
Wait. I respect that. And I want you to understand, I think that you have a defensive wall there and you might take some of the things that I say and it's rubbing you the wrong way. And maybe it's my choice of words.
I'm a representative of the game. And when you associate the game to something that's low budget and under this.
I didn't say it was low budget. I didn't say it was low budget.
Motherfucker sticking up an old lady is low budget.
Oh, that is definitely.
I don't like it.
Definitely.
Bro. And when you say that nigga's a part of the game, of course I got a problem with that.
Definitely.
I got to put my word out there and let motherfuckers know I'm not agreeing with you on that shit. That motherfucker ain't a part of this game.
And you know what?
You serious?
Wait, brother. That's fine. That's fine. But in my eyesight, that's just how I see it. I mean, we can see it differently. You don't have to co-sign it. And I'm not saying I agree with it at all. I don't, honestly, if you really want to keep it 100, I don't respect shit but getting money. I don't respect selling pussy. I don't respect no nigga having no bitch do shit. If you really want to get technical, but I respect the game. And because I respect the game, I take what comes with it. And pimps and hoes comes with it. I could care less about, I don't give a shit about none of that.
You don't know the power of a female.
And you know what?
Right now, if all women made men pay, women would run the world.
But here's the thing.
You don't know the power of a female.
Okay, and brother, I agree with that as well. But let me just hit you with this. If is a very big word. Because I'm not paying shit. I'm not paying to sleep with you. You can't have the mentality that if women made all men pay, nigga, I'm not paying nobody shit. The fuck out of here. That's just what it is. At the end of the day, when you a dope boy, them bitches that you sending out to sell pussy is a perk for me. Them bitches gonna give me some pussy and suck my dick just to get in my car, to get up to where I live at, to walk around with what I got.
Hey,
that's the bottom line.
I don't know what kind of broad you talking about.
Well, I'm talking about the kind of broad that you talking about.
You crazy, bro. The kind of broads I had were professionals.
Yo, listen to me, nigga. You know what? We going left, and I respect it. And if you feel that way, so be it.
Wherever you want to go, bro. I can stand up for my position, bro.
No, and I believe you.
Without being offended, I understand.
Black man, I believe you.
Listen,
I believe you.
As a dope boy, how you think, and you would like to believe what you say.
I don't have to like to believe because I got. I ain't gonna go into all of that, but I mean, for where I come from, how I was raised, how we ran in the game. There are perks that come with the game. It's the same as for professional athletes.
So you saying a perk was a hoe would suck your dick, a real professional, or a crack bitch That ain't no hoe.
But
What are you really saying?
My era, they did have crack bitches, but where I'm at, there was no crack bitches. I'm not on the corner, black man. I wasn't on. I started off on the corner. I started off as a lookout. There were crackheads there. But when you elevate and you get to where you're supposed to be by really making some money, those kind of people ain't around you. Actually, to be totally honest, ain't nothing but hoes, professional and amateurs in the rooms that I'm in when you get money. And it don't matter which side of the coin is.
Okay, wait. We have to have a real breakdown of what you consider a hoe. Because if you consider a hoe a girl that's just sleeping with a guy,
no,
a whole bunch of square broads out there is doing that. I'm talking about a hoe up underneath some instruction of a pimp. You think they in your rooms? Bruh, I don't know. Man, I know the niggas out there. I know GQ. I know Jap. I know a whole bunch of them New York niggas out there, man. So them niggas are pool. Them niggas are the nigga.
You know I like you because I like
pictures of mine, boy. But
yeah, listen to me. I like you, black man, and I like you because you got that defiance. And you the kind of brother. You the first kind of brother. Actually, when I was in the game, and if I was in the room, I take your bitch, and I ain't paying a shit.
You wouldn't have to take my bitch. If you come out by force,
no. What? I don't do that.
You ain't got
that. Ain't my style.
Take my bride.
But you know what? But see, here's the difference. See, with the pimps,
you ain't got enough knowledge to take this bitch of mine.
Bring it out,
man. That sounds funny as hell.
Get it? And that's why I'm laughing at it. Cause nigga, you have no clue. All you got to do is walk in the room and stand there. The room gonna know who I am before I get there. And the bitch coming with me. Right? You could be standing there all day. You could be dressed however you want to, have whatever you want. All that. Don't look up. Don't look down. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I'm taking them.
You from the beginning.
That's what you said. That's what you said.
What I said from the beginning. Is
shit. The Bible said it's holy. That don't mean shit.
Before you a pimp. You got to be a man, bro.
And it would be a man thing. It would be a man thing. I would be a man, look you dead in your face and take your bitch.
You talking about by force?
No, I'm talking about just by my presence. Just my presence.
All right, man. This is novelty shit now.
It is.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
But that's how you have no choice because at the end of the day, we will never really be able to find out. But that's, you know what? Listen what I'm gonna say. I respect your confidence, respect mine, because that's how I feel. You can't say I can't.
It's not a confidence, man. I've been knocked before. That's part of the game.
You'll get knocked again. You could be knocked again. I've been knocked before too. We both, and that's the game. That's the game.
But bro, I'm gonna leave it alone because I'm like I said. One reason why I got the confidence that I have is because I got the receipts. I ain't talking about nothing that I ain't lived. Everything I talk about is I live, and the streets testify to it.
And I believe you.
All kind of niggas, all kind of bitches, whatever, man. So I ain't got to.
I believe you.
I don't have to really prove to you, and because this ain't no ego thing with me.
And it's not.
I've done what I've done, and it is. You could say and suggest, and that's all good.
And you know why I believe you more so? Let me tell you why I believe you. Let me tell you why I believe you. We've both probably traveled a lot of different places and seen a lot of different things. And what separates us from the average person is that, there's a lot of has-beens. There's a lot of dudes that used to be. You see them fly or whatever, but they never had the power to transition. See, because I believe that if you could sell a brick, you could sell a hot dog. You understand? So there ain't no reason for you to sit down and I see you 20 years later and I know you used to be getting it. And now all of a sudden you don't want to work at McDonald's. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that because you used to sell bricks, but you was in jail working for $4 a week. See, to me, That's not a hustler. That's not transitioning. I transitioned on 2 magazines and I've been on them for 17 years. See what I'm saying? So, and when you move like that, you don't have to sit down and prove anything to anybody. You've done what you've done, and I've read you've gotten contracts out of the government for $150,000. The average black man can't do that, whether he was a pimp or a prophet. It doesn't matter. That takes a different type of dude with a different type of vision and direction. So there's no need to prove your track record because I can see simply because you've made the transition. Those that can't make the transition, you know what I tell them? Tell your story walking, homie. Because I ain't trying to hear that shit. You know why? Because you got nothing to fall back on and show me this is what you've done. You can't have been whatever you were 20 years ago and today you fucked up. And you don't even want to try to get out of the fucked up because, man, I've been down to where I've had to sell fucking hamburgers or do whatever I had to do to get back up. There's no shame in that. But that's a hustler. That's the game. So we are more alike mentally than you know or you think. And although it may come across as this argumentative and we may not see eye to eye, that's a part of the game. These kind of conversations and things would happen if we were incarcerated or in a barbershop, that would go on for hours and hours, and everybody would have their different views. However, that's their views. So I can't knock you for feeling like I could never take one of your girls. If that's how you feel, I believe it. If you have that
No. Well, let me just say this. Like I said before, my position is that I can't be knocked. I mean, like I said, I've been knocked. If you in the game and you ain't been knocked, you ain't never been in the game.
There you go.
I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the way you said you could do it, no.
Well, hey.
Come into a room. Because remember, the women...
I'll give you some names right now. Let me give you a name. Let me give you one name.
No names. Don't give me
no names. I'm going to give you one name right now. Everybody knows that he's watching right now. And I can tell you, if the nigga walked into a room right now, I don't care which pimp, what whoever is, and he wanted to take your bitch, he could just look at her and take her. And I don't ride dick. I'm not a dick ride nigga, but I'm telling you a nigga that I know could do it. Big Meech, BMF. Big Meech walking to a room right now, he going to take your bitch. Bottom line. And you know why? Because those are stars of the game. That's how that game go.
Bruh.
I give you an R&B singer. I give you a singer. I give you a singer that could do that.
Let me just talk about Dove right now, right?
Okay.
Who I have now been me 23 years.
Oh, that's your wife.
She don't even know who Big Meech is.
That's your wife? She's a pretty lady. That's your wife. Let's not talk about wives. Don't put your wife in this.
Okay. So let's go to some holes of mine. Right?
Yeah, don't use
because the way the girls are developed, they don't look at dope boys the way you look at them. Because in the pimp game, the pimp is the king of all hustles, right? The pimp game. So the broad of mine, the reason why this broad is living, the reason why she is motivated is by me as a man. The pimping is second, right? So a nigga could have way more money than me, but he ain't probably the man that I am. And the bitch of mine is gonna ultimately see that shit. And he gonna make some miss moves that he don't even know was a miss move with a broad of mine. Now, like I said, another pimp has knocked me as I've knocked other pimp. That's a part of the game.
And you know what? That is an excellent answer. It was one that I would expect. It's just the way you even said the shit is pimp. And I'm not saying it to be disrespectful. It's just like, that's just how I see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I respect it because you dead ass serious about that shit.
Well, because dope boys are not looked upon as the kings.
But I ain't trying
anybody that's looked anyone that's in any other hustle to a hole's a trick. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's just how they think about it. That nigga's a square.
Okay.
If a nigga selling drugs, pimp niggas think they squares.
Okay.
Because you ain't got the information. See, you can control anything. You can control dudes and all that shit. But one thing that niggas have never been able to do with pimps do is know how to conduct a broad. So much so that a nigga can have 8 broads and the broad will do anything he want to do for him. Not no dope. She ain't doing, as a matter of fact, a broad with me, she could not drink because I never drink or smoke in my life. So no broad being with me could drink or smoke. Just ask niggas in the game about me.
No, and I believe you. And you know what?
I never drink or smoke in my life.
I know you guys play with a different set of rules and a different set of principles. So I agree with that. So, I mean, as far as that's concerned, that's great. Let's move on to the positivity of your transition, because you transitioned from that mentality, boarded mainstream, and you've had some accomplishments. Let's go there.
Well, let me just back it up a little bit. I didn't transition from the mentality. Remember, I'm not pimping. But the information, I can't unlearn the information.
I said that to you 30 minutes ago.
Well, I don't know if you said it like that. You know?
Right. And I think that's our problem.
There's no way that I can unlearn the information.
Right.
The information, across the board. It's, applicable across the board, no matter what you're doing in life.
And I agree.
Gain the information, you utilize the information. As you've seen, I was able to utilize the information and do other things.
And I agree.
But as far as me, because I can't take the game out of me, never do I want to. That's a strength of mine.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
We on the same page with that. So let's get into this police accountability. What's going on with that, and what did you do?
Well, they killed my brother in 2016.
Sorry to
my
hear
little
that.
brother, my loved one. And God allowed it to be, and I don't know, but He knew that if they touched my brother, everybody was going to have to pay. So I went back to Seattle in 2016, the day after he was killed. And I thought about, before I came up here, how we've been losing so bad all over the country on police accountability. And I'm trying to figure out now, okay, God, you got me into this. The Most High got me into this. Now, exactly what does it, how do I want to maneuver to come up with the win? So I formulated a strategy that I would use. So when I first came up here, I had to sit down with the chief of police. Okay. And I knew it was going to start then, right?
Okay.
So I told her name is Kathleen O'Toole.
Okay.
I said, I know I can't bring my little brother back, but I'm still willing to work with you so that we can reduce the incidence of violence in the community. That shocked the hell out of her, because the system is always expecting for us to have a reaction. But I said we cannot react. The reason why we've been losing the narrative is because we react and not respond. So we'll burn some shit down, throw shit, break in shit, we'll react. So all the narrative is put on the actions of the community and not the shooting of the police officer. So we've been losing the narrative over and over and over again. So I said, I'm going to change that. So I kept the narrative on the actual shooting by telling her, I'm willing to work with you so that we can reduce the incidence of violence. And with that fundamental right now, I was able to build my organization, not this time, where we was able to bring the most powerful people in the state all over to a little community meeting that we had in the central area, which was like the Black area, right? And what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring community together with all these politicians and law enforcement, because I wanted community to understand how we have to move. I wanted them to understand. What we didn't understand in Seattle is that Washington had the worst law in the nation, worse than down south, worse than anywhere, because in Washington, in order for us to hold a police officer accountable, we had to prove that the officer had malice, which is impossible. Malice is you have to prove what he was thinking in his mind at the time of the shoot. So for over 35 years, not one officer has been held accountable for police shootings in this state.
Wow.
Because that stuff was written in the law. So What I did, to make a long story short, right, I got powerful people around me. I got some powerful attorneys, and I went about going to different communities here where you have to have cultural sensitivity. I'm talking about grassroots movements right now. Cultural sensitivity is one of the most important things to build a nonprofit organization that includes more than just Black people.
Okay.
So I had to go to the Native Indians. I had to go to the Latino organizations. I had to go to Pacific Islanders. And I had to go say, listen, we've been fighting this alone. They can beat us alone, and they have been, but they can't beat all of us. So what I did, I'm making it short, is I took all the families that had experienced the same thing that my family had experienced. That was a white family, the Billy Langford's family. Their son was shot, white conservative family, because he was having a mental health crisis. I took an Asian family, Asian Pacific Islander, a Mexican family, a Native family. I put all those families at the forefront and allowed them to tell their stories. And you know what that did, brother?
What did
that made white people say, we're not doing this for Black people. This is happening to us too. That made Asians say, we're not doing it for Black people. Latinos say, we're not. When I was able to show, represented every nationality that had faced the same thing that my brother had faced, then everybody got on board because they had a self-interest. That self-interest is what drove, because now law enforcement couldn't beat everybody. So we defeated them. Towards the end of it, I was counseling the sheriff, the police chief, the mayor, the governor, because of the work that I've done, and bringing forth legislation, the first in this country. Washington State became the first state in the country to have a police accountability law. There's nowhere else. And because of that change of law, 4 officers have been charged with murder. That is not going on anywhere in this country, but that's because we changed that law. So I have many different states getting in contact with me, trying to get the blueprint of what I did up here. You know,
that's great, man.
Yeah,
that's great.
You know, that's some phenomenal stuff. And
that's admirable, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's for our people.
And I think that again, you know, I think that mentality and how you were raised and what you come from has turned into that. And I think it takes someone like you to make that happen. I think people that have our histories and our past are some of the most brilliant people that there are. And I think a lot of times it's just because of our upbringing. So again, I don't want you to even remotely think that I'm against you in any way. I admire what you've done, and I think it's needed for Black people. That's first and foremost, because we need all the help we can. And I mean, it's unfortunate to say, but we don't need nobody else to fix us. We have to fix us first.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if we can't fix us.
No one's coming to save us.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, yo, man, listen.
See,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tell you one thing that I'm sorry. Let me just tell you this. So I had a couple contracts. My first contract was Conversations with the Streets, where I brought many of our powerful Black leaders from around the country to Seattle, you know, to have these conversations. And we were going to go all over the country to do them. But, you know, COVID happened. But that was the first contract that was extreme. I brought Tamika Mallory down. I brought Mai Sean. I brought Brother RZA down. I brought Joe Brown. Umar. I brought everybody. I mean, a lot of people down here, man. And it was extremely successful. The Conversations with the Streets. So what we did is, because they closed down, COVID closed down everything, I started doing it online, where I brought George Frazier, Joe Brown. It's on the internet right now. It's real popular. And Professor, oh, come on, man. I'm going to forget the professor's name, man. I ain't going to say I'm getting old. I'm getting young. I ain't about to speak that. I ain't going to speak that.
Hey, brother, I would have said it. I say it about myself all the time.
Yeah, no. So, Professor, oh, yeah, okay, there it is. Professor James Small.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did a beautiful Conversations with the Streets, and I titled it "No One Is Coming to Save Us But Us." So yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. You know, and just trying to create things for us. And like I said, just like Tamika, when she came, she said, "Dre, the worst thing about it is that our community don't know what you did." I said, because it wasn't done on an urban level, it was done on a systems level. Right. You know, so, and when I told you that no Black platforms came to me and said anything and tried to it was white platforms, the major white platforms that came.
I believe that. And you know what? I got to interject. Here's the sad truth of this. And I really want to see if you agree with this. The reason why, in my opinion, Black people didn't come to you is because what Black people expect is what you used to be, not what you are. Get what I'm saying?
A little bit. It's not that. Because when I first came back to Seattle, no Black organizations supported me because they said, "Oh man, he's just a pimp."
That's what I'm saying. I just said the same thing.
But once they seen everything working, then everybody want to get on board.
And that's how we are. That's exactly how we are.
That's exactly how we are.
And that's
absolutely right.
That's a damn shame.
It is a damn shame.
And here's the bad thing about it. Well, it's good and bad. It took you being what you were to be what you are today. And had you not had that to draw from, you might not have been successful. And people don't really look into it that way. So, you know, although we had this conversation and it may have looked that way, I respect you more than you realize, simply because I know what you come from. I may not know the rules and the aspects of it from A to Z, but I know coming from anything like that, be it negative or positive, as a Black man is extremely hard. And the hardest people we have to sell our story to is our own people, even when we're helping them.
Wow.
And that's a damn shame.
That's the damn truth, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the damn truth, man. I mean, for real.
Yeah, man.
And I say this, man. I said, look, man. You know, when I do my OnlyFans now, but I used to do something called Daily Fire. I did about a year of Daily Fires on YouTube, right, just to get the information out there. But it's like I said, man. You know, I don't know what it is about us, but that's just who we are, man.
It is.
It's painful and it's tragic.
It is.
Right?
It is.
Because here you have white folks that run every goddamn thing, them to recognize the impossibility of what I was able to do, right? And to want to come and talk about that, and for me to share that, and for them to get the game. Of course, I don't give them all the game, but for them to get it so they can utilize it.
For them to get the, but you know what's insulting? For them to get the game before we do.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Exactly. Right.
You know, we over here worried about the next mixtape and shit,
right.
And they sending satellites in the fucking air for 20, 30 years. Come on, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
Man, it got me. Yeah, it fucks me up, man.
Me and you both, man. And that's why I think, I think these kind of conversations are instrumental because we both see that we have a common cause. So it doesn't matter how we approach it. At the end of the day, you're still a black man, and I'm going to respect you and I'm going to ride with you because I'm pro-black. Bottom line, you don't have to like what I did, who I am, whatever. But at the end of the day, you still black. Because you know what? Every other nationality and ethnicity, they stand with each other.
Yes,
except for us. We will not do it. And I think it's sad, but I also think that it's going to change because I slowly see it starting to change.
It will. And see, I'm connected to a lot of brothers. Like I brought Big U up here also. So from street cats to political cats to all kind of stuff, I brought them all up. So, and I was explaining to them that at some point, we need some type of black Senate and people represented from different parts of the country. We need that. Even if we got a remnant of our people, if we get a remnant of our strong soldiers knowing how to work together, we can influence our communities as we go back to them. But at some point, we need some type of black Senate of power. That's from the streets. That's from our political mind. That's our educational minds. We need all of that, right? And that's what I was trying to do with conversations with the streets.
But stop. Let me interject. You're not trying to do it. You're doing it.
Yeah, because there's not too many people. Like I brought Nuri Muhammad up here. I brought a gang of people up here. So I wanted to, this is what I told everybody before they came. I said, listen, this is not about a religion. So you can't bring your religion, but this is what we're about. We're about unity and the reclaiming and the education of our people. If you can come under that note, then we can all agree right there. So I'm bringing people from different, aspects of their mind and their training. So, I brought Jay Morrison, I brought Nuri Muhammad, then I brought Ben X here with Rizza and Judge Brown. I just brought a combination of all of our great thinkers from different perspectives. And that's leadership I brought because no one has never focused on getting leadership together.
That's what's needed. That's what's needed.
Yes.
That's what's definitely needed. So listen, man, I like to thank you, man, for being on my podcast, man. I really
thank you, bro.
Like we got to get together, man, and work on some stuff. You let me know whatever I can do, and I will definitely assist in any way that I can. Like at the end of the day, I really respect you, and I respect that you've been able to make that transition. You've metamorphosized into something bigger than the game. And a lot of brothers, they can't do that. They can't do that. You don't need no receipts. You don't need none of that other shit. You walk with it. You know what I mean? And a lot of brothers, again, they can't do it. You know what they used to be, but what are they today? What have they done to change?
The Most High.
And so,
to the Most High. Yeah.
Oh, so you got to go with that. So, man, listen, you need a round of applause for that. I want everybody to know this is Andre Taylor. Andre Taylor is one of the best men that I've talked to. And whatever we can do again to support you, let us know.
All love, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate your mind because I know what it took you and what you had to go through to get it.
Thank you, man. Hey, listen, you stay focused and stay positive, and I'll get back at you.
All love, family.
All right.